This video serves as an example of the kind of childish antics that Mr. Killian, aka shanedk, gets up to. Initially I wasn't going to invest any time into this individual until someone drew my attention to some of his behaviour 2 years ago. I just couldn't pass this opportunity up. The comments originated on the League of Reason forums. Yes, I know, Mr. Killian thinks it's the League of Unreason. Hardly surprising, this is Mr. Killian we're talking about. In any event, on with the show. Let's begin by looking at some comments he left on their boards. Regardless of your opinion on how the League of Reason does things, there are ways of handling situations that do not involve name-calling or sexually suggestive comments such as this one. Which is hilarious given he banned me from his channel for referring to what he and his fellow evangelists are doing as a circle jerk. It really does take some set of balls for someone to claim the moral high ground and accuse their critics of homophobic bigotry for the use of a term which on the internet often means engaging in a reciprocal act of congratulatory ego boosting in a vain attempt to make it appear to outsiders that you are the smartest persons present in the room, forum, channel or whatever else, when the self-same person used what was explicitly and unequivocally a sexual slur against those who criticize them. The difference between the use of the term circle jerk and butt buddies is clear. Circle jerk has alternative definitions. Butt buddies doesn't. So if Mr. Killian wants to continue to insist that I'm homophobic for the use of the term circle jerk, then by his reasoning and through the evidence, he is just as guilty, if not more so, of homophobia and bigotry as I ever was for the use of the expression butt buddies against those who have criticised him. Nice job showing the hypocrisy there, Killian. In any case, that's only one thing to raise about this individual. Here's more. He has a tendency to claim that he is only defending himself against his critics and that he is trying to be rational. Well, comments like this show otherwise. And also, it's obvious that his childish and immature behaviour can be set off simply by disagreeing with his evangelistic, libertarian and minarchist points of view. The very existence of my response to Break the Matrix is evidence of that. See the info bar for the link to the video in question. Another thing he likes to claim is that he uses caps to emphasize his points, as opposed to the literary equivalent of screaming a tantrum like the little adolescent that he is. Yet the League of Reason forums, like many forums online, have the ability to utilize formatting options such as bold, italics and underline, as well as changing the size of text and colors used in your posts. He has decided not to use any of those options in his posts there, with one exception, and it doesn't take that much effort to do so. Therefore, it is not entirely unreasonable to assume that he is being dishonest when he claims that his use of capitalized words is merely for emphasis. On YouTube and on forums that don't have formatting options, it might be excusable, and I even do so myself under those circumstances, but that excuse is not going to cut it on a forum like League of Reason where, as I stated a moment ago, you can format your posts. Not only that, but entire sentences were capitalized, even those that didn't need to be. Is this a quibble? Maybe. Still, I have very exacting standards against those who demonstrate hypocrisy and double standards in their behaviour. Speaking of which, he also made reference to his Da Rules video on his channel. Let's just take a look at one rule as an example. Rule number 5. Libel and or character assassination will not be tolerated. Really, Mr. Killian, this double standard is laughable. Let's take the first part. Libel. Mr. Killian interprets libel very broadly. It is, according to Mr. Killian, an act of libel if you point out that someone has accused you of deleting comments on your videos if they subsequently retract said claim. No, Mr. Killian, you moron. That is not libel, that happens to be true. It is true by virtue of the claim having been initially made in the first place, and there is no way of getting around it, especially by claiming retraction. Now, I've provided evidence of this claim against myself in a previous video demonstrating the dishonesty that is shanedk. And also this happens to be another instance of hypocrisy given that Mr. Killian has accused practically everyone who disagrees with him of lying, whether they did or not. Character assassination as a rule is problematic. Many things can be assessed as character assassination, and the phrase itself is vague. Any dishonest person can categorize anything they like as character assassination in order to make the claim that their critics have violated this particular rule. It's not difficult to do, and Mr. Killian hands out warnings like candy for violation of this particular rule, which is amusing given this example of hypocrisy. I think that will suffice for now. There is little else I need to demonstrate how this insignificant little child is as childish as he shows himself to be. Tarring an entire forum with the same brush as one single member is yet another example, as well as a false sense of entitlement, demonstrated when he chastised the board for not doing enough to help him out when the vote botting issue was a big problem for users on YouTube. Here's a pro tip. Whining like you have a sense of entitlement about an issue of vote botting while chastising others for being statists on a similar basis is hypocrisy. Here's another pro tip. No one has any right to expect the assistance of a bunch of people online to combat a problem that other people online created. If a person chooses to help, fantastic. It's their choice. But it's really crappy behaviour to throw a tantrum when they do not meet your expectations. They don't have to do a damn thing, especially as they're not getting compensated in any way, shape or form for their activities. Funny that a minarchist randroid like Mr. Killian, who is a hyper-capitalist who doesn't think that anyone should be getting anything for free at the point of use unless it's via charity, would get upset that any help that he would have gotten, freely donated I might add, isn't good enough. The expression, "never look a gift horse in the mouth" is appropriate here. Note also the repeated accusations of liar against his critics. This is of course not surprising, and one could be forgiven for thinking that the strident tone of his responses, especially something along the lines of
"You're a fucking liar,"
or
"I was tired of your fucking lies,"
or
"Are you all fucking insane?"
or even
"Fucking assholes on this forum,"
suggested he was mentally unstable and might go out on a killing spree if one more person pushed him over the edge. Whether this is remotely the case or not is simply not for me to say. I'm not a psychologist, but one could be forgiven for thinking it's possible at least. No doubt if he sees this video he will try and use it against me, as he has done with everyone he has ever had a disagreement with outside of his circle. In any event, Mr. Killian, for his immature, childish conduct over the years, as well as his anti-government nonsense, has won a free copy of Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. Terms and conditions apply. Free in this case means available for purchase. Recommended retail price, shipping and handling costs must be made payable to Amazon.com. All applicable taxes in the state of North Carolina need to be paid whether you think they are immoral or not. For full details, contact Amazon.com. One final thing. If anyone thinks that Mr. Killian has made a thorough refutation of my video response to his baseless attack against the National Health Service of the UK, this can only be true by virtue of redefining the words thorough and refutation to mean quote mining, libel, personal attacks, and statistical cherry picking. I've already picked up on this fact in the original video itself, and I'm not about to waste my time making another video response to this individual just because his acolytes think he's got something to say. It's like a moon hoaxer claiming that they've shown the National Aeronautics and Space Administration to be fraudulent in their claims that the Apollo program successfully made it to the moon, and then demanding that NASA make a response to their thorough refutation of NASA's garbage. And I'm hardly going to make time to respond to such insanity unless I want to address specific points. Now I have every intention of returning to my roots, that of addressing pseudoscientific nonsense. A remake of my Educating the Film Free series is planned in the form of an entire single video production. Let me know in the comment section what you think. While I no longer receive notifications when a comment arrives on my videos, I do still check them from time to time. Other than that, I'll be getting back to my critical analysis of What the Bleep. Thank you for watching.